It's the WestfordCAT News 2019 Year in Review. January. An informational meeting organized by the owner of Drew Gardens, Ebi Masaladan, brought an overflowing crowd to the function room at Bamboo Restaurant on January 15th. Masaladan is planning to bring a citizen petition to annual town meeting in March. Drew Garden is a 9-acre parcel at 66 Boston Road. Masaladan wants to build a 13,696 square foot farm-to-table restaurant on the land.
For the third consecutive year since President Trump took office, women gathered on the Boston Common, in Washington, D.C., and in many areas around the country to express solidarity. Locally, a group gathered at the Ladd and Whitney Monument in Lowell, where Congresswoman Lori Trahan was one of several who addressed the crowd.
Dozens attended a dinner for the town's first responders on January the 12th. This was the second consecutive year the event was held. It was Selectman Scott Hazelton who pushed for the recognition dinner after seeing it done in the New Hampshire town where he grew up.
The Parks and Recreation Department is getting new digs. On January 28th, the whole department will move to the third floor of 65 Main Street.
February.
The body of a 38-year-old Springfield woman was discovered on February 2nd just before noon in the vicinity of 104 Providence Road, where the neighborhood bumps up against Interstate 495 heading south. As of February 6th, Middlesex District Attorney Marion Ryan had not yet released the woman's name.
WestfordCAT's Patty Stocker and Nick Woodbury wanted to know where folks will be watching the Super Bowl on Sunday, February 3rd. Here's what they found out.
I am hosting a Super Bowl party at my house. I live in Tingsboro. There are probably about 30 people there, and my girlfriend's sleeping over.
What are your predictions?
Oh, the Patriots are going to win, and handsomely.
Dance, rhythm, song, music, and martial arts were all incorporated into the Lunar New Year performances at Westford Academy on February 2nd. The event paid tribute to Asian culture, beginning with a buffet of Asian food that drew 500 to the school's cafeteria.
March.
Gusting winds as high as 61 miles per hour took down trees all over Westford on Monday, February 25th, forcing police to close several streets and cancel governmental meetings for the evening. Even Town Hall was affected. It ran on a generator for 2 days, according to Town Manager Jody Ross.
Emma Oliver Minor sat down at the piano. As the first performer of Chick Singer Night on March 9th, she captured the room. It was the first in a wave of performances that captivated family and friends inside the Parish Center for the Arts.
In the end, many of the controversial issues that were so consuming prior to annual town meeting on March 23rd were dismissed.
I'd like to make a motion to dismiss Articles 16 and 17.
Madam Moderator, there was a citizen who came to the microphone and attempted to put a proposal to you to have a secret ballot. At that time, you didn't accept it because you hadn't even introduced this item to town meeting on the floor.
I'll allow that motion after I've made my statement.
April.
In an effort to improve how town meeting goes in the future, Selectmen met with Town Moderator Susan McNeil Spooler.
Some members of the town government have approached me to resign. I see no reason to do so. I was properly elected by the voters in the spring of 2017. I sought this position because I believe that town moderator should be a person who is viewed as fair and impartial. I've worked hard to ensure that impartiality.
April 6th was a big day for disaster responders. Governor Charlie Baker proclaimed last Saturday as the first ever Massachusetts Medical Reserve Corps Day. This special one-time recognition honors 13,000 MRC members in 38 units across the state.
Lola, an 11-year-old toy poodle, died on April 17th after allegedly being attacked by 2 dogs owned by her neighbors at 10 Wilson Farm Road. Lola was walking with a teenage son at 8:23 p.m. when the neighbor's dog silently appeared, according to Baylin, unrestrained and unaccompanied by an owner, and allegedly attacked the 6-pound poodle.
May.
In a public hearing on May 8th, the Board of Selectmen deemed 2 dogs as dangerous after they mauled a toy poodle to death on April 17th. Their owner, Haley Gallagher, defied a ruling requiring her to turn the dogs over to the town's animal control officers by 11 a.m. on May 3rd. Town officials do not know where Wendy, a black lab mix, and Luca, a pit bull mix, are living. The turnout was dismal, according to one precinct warden, but the 937 voters who made it to the polls on May 7th did the job. Alicia Mallon and Sean P. Kelly were elected to the school committee in the only contested race.
Westford resident Richard Coleman, the man who got plastic grocery bags banned from Westford beginning January 1st of this year, is now focused on banning plastic straws from restaurants.
On one side, there is the Pedestrian Safety Committee Chairman Chris Barrett, advocating for sidewalks along the historic Robinson Road, from Concord to Flag Roads. On the other side are the homeowners on the 2 streets, many of whom do not want the proposed sidewalks and widened roadways.
Main Street was lined with crowds of people on May 18th who were there to watch a parade of creative floats go by. Children picked up tossed candy. Parents took pictures and everyone smiled. The annual event, sponsored by the Westford Kiwanis, is a fundraiser to help neighbors in need.
June.
Jody Marchand, who has devoted her life to raising awareness of domestic violence, was named an unsung heroine on June 18th by the Massachusetts Commission on the Status of Women. Marchand, along with some 351 women from each community in the state, was invited to the State House to receive her House resolution from State Representative James Arcero, who nominated her. Westford Academy's class of 2019 graduated on June 7th under a blue sky and warm sunshine, with hundreds of family members and friends watching from the field and bleachers of Trustees Alumni Stadium. In his opening remarks, Principal James Antonelli said the class had shown humility and kindness to each other and their educators throughout the year.
The piles of loam are spread, the dilapidated greenhouse is gone, and the old farm stand is cleared of clutter. Developer Ebby Marsaladon, whose original plan was to build a controversial farm-to-table restaurant on the property's 9 acres, is now considering other options.
July.
An historic black oak tree, possibly dating back to the 1700s, may be facing the end of its life. With the yellow tape surrounding it, the tree has been deemed unsafe by an arborist who used an ultrasound device to determine that 55 inches of the 79-inch diameter of the trunk is hollow.
After a year's hiatus, the farmers market is back in Westford, receiving high praise from vendor Mohammed Gobashi of Kebab House. The town common was transformed into a makeshift restaurant, grocery store, and shopping boutique on July 9th.
The national movement, Lights for Liberty, played out in the Westford Common on July 12th when more than 150 gathered to protest U.S. border detention facilities, inhumane living conditions, and harsh immigration policies.
We have sorrowful news today about Robinson School Principal Kevin Lacoste. The beloved educator suffered a severe spinal cord injury on the weekend of July 20th, 21st, after falling out of a tree in his yard.
The Willows restaurant at 75 Brookside Road was extensively damaged on July 21st when the building caught fire just before 2 a.m. 6 engines and a ladder truck responded.
There were many smiling faces as the Northwest Boston Fresh Air Committee welcomed 13 New York City children to Westford on Monday, July 29th, as their bus arrived at Neshoba Valley Technical High School. The kids, aged 7 to 18, will begin a 1-week stay in the suburbs with their volunteer host families. August.
Volunteers installed bricks at the day school last week. Donated by members of the community, the 275 bricks helped to pay for a new playground at the elementary school. The $160,000 project was completed in November.
Westford historian Ellen Hardy led a tour around the town center on August 18th, dressed as Kate Hamlin, a resident of Westford from 1847 when she was born until 1896 when the gold rush fever lured her to the West Coast.
Two influential foundations, both working individually to prevent suicide, are merging. Westford-based Team Forever Young and Littleton-based See a New Sun Foundation have been combating the stigma of mental illness for years through fundraising efforts and education. Amid the horses, cows, sheep, rabbits, dogs, roosters, and goats were the boys and girls who care for them last weekend at the Middlesex County 4-H Fair, which takes place every year in August.
September. Westford resident Nancy Cook, with prompting from her 9-year-old grandson Jake, a former student at the Robinson School, spearheaded a fundraising campaign to renovate the split-level Lacoste family home into one that had a single wheelchair-accessible level. Dozens of Westford residents, along with town and public safety officials, gathered in the courtyard next to Town Hall on September 11th to observe the 18th anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks on the U.S. that took the lives of 2,977 men, women, and children.
In 2018, resident Joanna Donaher attended a meeting of the Agricultural Commission. There, she proposed launching a bee colony in a common area with a fence to keep the bears out. The idea took hold, and now there are 12 apiaries and hundreds of thousands of busy bees making honey. The 1880 Abbott Windmill at 39 Main Street is under repair for the second time in 20 years. And for the second time in those many years, Jim Collins has traveled from his hometown of Poteet, Texas to repair it.
2019 marks the 225th anniversary of Westford Academy, the town's public high school. According to the Westford Historical Society, Westford Academy was incorporated on September 28, 1793.
The annual Westfest drew hundreds to the Stony Brook School on September 28th for a day of family fun. Vendors sold wares, food trucks lined the parking area, and carnival games pulled in the risk takers.
October. Westford Animal Control released a red-tailed hawk back into the wild after it had spent nearly 3 months rehabilitating at Tufts Wildlife Clinic in Grafton. The hawk was injured on July 9th after it had swooped into the backyard at 39 Vose Hill Road and caught its wing in a bird feeder, according to Westford Animal Control Officer Dan Hurd.
2 key people in town were honored on September 28th for going above and beyond in helping others. emceeing the affair was David Christiana, a Westford firefighter and a sculptor who honored State Representative Jim Arcero with an award. Christiana then called Nancy Cook to the front of the room and presented her with an award for her extraordinary service to the town.
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We're enthralled with a pink Dodge that belongs to the Westford Police Department. This year, Westford Police brought the car to Colonial Municipal Group of Acton, where graphics designer Bill Camalucci wrapped it in a special vinyl made for cars.
Now back in their newly renovated home after almost 3 months of hospitalization and therapy, Kevin and his wife Allie spoke with WestfordCAT on October 22nd.
One of the strong reasons that I wanted to do this interview was to be able to just have an opportunity to thank the community. Allie and I would love to write 3,000 thank you notes, but with everything else that we're doing, I don't know that that's really possible for us to do. So I think, first I just really want to thank the community for supporting our family. There have been so many things that have happened behind the scenes that we don't even still know about, but have been taken care of for us and taken it off our plates. You have no idea how much that means to us, so that we could focus on, getting better.
Irony did not spare voters at the October 28 special town meeting. The meeting opened with a box of electronic voting devices and a tutorial on how to use them. Despite support from town moderator Susan McNeil-Spooler, voters wanted to stick with the tried and true method of standing up and being counted. So a short time later, when a voice vote couldn't distinguish the yeas from the nays for a software package, voters stood tall and poll takers started counting. A new set of federal requirements for stormwater management prompted select board members to assess a fee on property owners.
The town is now allowing the federal government to have a direct hook to your town budget, and people here do not want to talk about it. Do not want to talk about it. Do not want to talk about it. You're out of order. Thank you.
November.
Kevin Lacoste visited the Robinson Elementary School on November 1st and read a book to his students.
Then the mouse read those two wonderful words like the last sip of a chocolate milkshake. The end.
To welcome Lacoste back to the school, interim principal Scott Middlemiss brought the entire school community together to sing the Andy Grammer song, Don't Give Up. Then Middlemiss unveiled the day's biggest surprise. Grammer had sent a video of himself and band singing the song to Lacoste.
In 2012, Westford resident Ed Dean fell off his bicycle and seriously injured his spinal cord. He was paralyzed from the neck down and landed at Spaulding Rehabilitation Hospital in Boston, where he spent hours each day trying to get movement back to his limbs. 2 months later, he walked out of the hospital and has been mobile ever since. Before the accident, Dean started a charity called Climb for a Child. The charity's mission is to educate some of the impoverished children of the Mount Kilimanjaro regions of Tanzania and the Maasai of Kenya.
Yeah, so what Climb for a Child does is we try to get sponsors or people that are interested and want to go on safari and do something amazing. Instead of using travel, or we do have a couple travel agencies that we use over there, but they give us very special discounts. When you climb the mountain, it goes directly to the porters and the guides. There's no middlemen.
Andy LaGrega, a principal of Boston-based Wilder, a real estate development and management company, and his colleagues are redefining the Westford Valley marketplace on Littleton Road. It's getting people to come out and do something they can't do in front of a computer, he said. Meanwhile, LaGrega said the remodeling and expansion of Karma, a Chinese-Japanese fusion restaurant located in the plaza, will finish soon. The remodeling of Karma is expected to be completed by mid-November.
Some 50 veterans attended a special dinner prepared just for them on November 26th inside the newly refurbished Neshoba Tech dining room. The Thanksgiving Day celebration for our nation's cherished military members of yesteryear was prepared by Neshoba Tech students in the 9th and 10th grades.
December. State Representative Jim Arcero's 10th annual Sun Santa Toys for Tots fundraiser was held Thursday, December 5th at the Franco-American Club in Westford. With close to 500 attendees passing through the doors, over $20,000 was raised for the Lowell Sun Santa Fund through gift baskets and silent auctions. Donated toys surrounded the tree throughout the evening, all to be collected for the U.S. Marine Corps Honor Guard's Toys for Tots program. Among the many community-driven programs offered at the Cameron Senior Center is their Whole Foods program. Every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, Whole Foods of Westford sends shipments of their stock to help out those at the Senior Center. Everything from vegetables to meats to pastries and canned goods.